Well, one thing we know for sure is that the White House just went through and they want to pull the taxpayer funding for NPR and PBS, right? They're going to say over $1 billion. It doesn't need to be out there. It's a politically biased system, as Russ Vogt calls it. So if this goes through, what does this mean for NPR and PBS, right? Are Big Bird and Morning Edition about to get defunded?
Yeah, well, Big Bird is I think with HBO at the moment, so it's difficult for them even to claim that they're putting out Sesame Street. Some of this money is going to pay for a Sesame version in Iraq, of millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars going to build a Sesame Street for Iraqis, I guess, to build a civic understanding over there. Fine. But not even the Corporation for Public Broadcasting isn't even putting that show out right now. So they're applying and they're begging. And this is something where Rush Vogt and the White House are really asking Congress to step up. They sent this in what's called a rescissions in a package. I think it's called a rescissions that allows this money to be taken back, money that's been allocated by the U.S. Senate. And if that money is actually taken back, they can do it with 51 votes. So it's able to be get through. And here's the way that you actually convince Republican senators and congressmen to back this. It's that NPR does not run any favorable coverage. Corporation for Public Broadcasting doesn't run any favorable coverage of any of them or any of their campaigns or any of their initiatives. It is a mouthpiece for the left wing. So more than just another liberal aspect of our society, it's basically an in-kind contribution to Democratic coffers. And in races that are tight, in races that Republicans have lost by 1 or 2 points, these sorts of things and the materials that they provide on the government dollar, the research they provide, the investigative reporting they provide to attacking Republicans and only Republicans is kind of an in-kind contribution and something that can actually make a difference in a race. And that's something that our friend, the congressman from Texas, has been pushing lately, saying that this is a tool for the Democratic campaign, a tool for Democratic power. And like we talked about last night, if you actually listen to it, I mean, so much of it is just insufferable.
See, this one really bugs me every time it comes up because it comes up every damn year. Every year that I've been alive, it feels like Republicans have been like, wait a minute, we probably shouldn't fund this garbage. We should really get rid of, PBS and NPR. And for the life of me, I don't know, like, who are they connected to the CIA or something, holding a file over? This should be an easy one. This is not a hard one, but it's a sign. It becomes a symbol in my mind of the failure of Congress to roll so many of these things back. This thing has been around for so long. I don't even know what the popularity is if you ask polls of the American people right now. But this should be a no-brainer. If this kind of stuff is going to be a problem, though, it signals that there's much bigger things that may be a problem for Donald Trump and the administration over the course of the coming weeks.
Yeah, Congress won't do anything. You're not going to get Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski to do anything.
So
Mitch McConnell, for whatever reason, will probably disagree with it too. And Jill's right. They will, even though they don't even own it anymore, and they have been bringing out Big Bird and Elmo and having them protest outside of Congress. And they pull on the heartstrings and the nostalgia strings of people, and they say, remember growing up with this wholesome programming that didn't actually have a left-wing message with transgender characters that are being given to your children? And these Republicans are so mean. They're so mean that they want to kill Big Bird. And they want to do these sorts of things. And that scares some of the more liberal Republicans who are thinking, oh, man, they'll just paint me as a villain. And yes, Congress is cowardly on huge aspects of a lot of this in a way that this executive is not. But also take heart, Matt, because they've been talking about defunding the Department of Education your entire life, too. And heck, here we are.
No, that's true. So amazing things could happen. I grant you that. So riddle me this. I mean, this just shows this is going to come down to threading in the Senate with people like the members you mentioned, right? And getting them on the team for things that they normally wouldn't be for. I mean, is that what this comes down to? In the next few weeks, you're going to have to get Collins and people like that on board through threats, bribes, and however you can to go along with the mass deportation plan and a number of other things that normally she would want to run away from.
Yes. And I don't think you're ever going to get Collins on there. She's going to be a harder sell just because she's in that plus 8D state, Democrat state, for Kamala Harris, mind you, not for Barack Obama, but for a very unpopular Democratic candidate who lost the national vote. Murkowski is in a much more red state. She's managed to fix power there with ranked voting, all these ranked choice voting. That's the only reason that she is still in power in Alaska. She doesn't win Republican primaries anymore, and it's not a state the Democrats are going to win anytime soon. But she's changed the whole voting system of the state in order to grip onto power, which kind of gives you a glimpse into her personality. But another thing about her personality is that she's very pay to play. So the White House can carve out a deal. Fine, we'll change back the name from Mount McKinley. We'll do whatever. I don't know, something that you need, something that's actually a pet issue for you. We'll figure out how to get that through and in exchange for your vote. She's very transactional, kind of that old-fashioned way, and she'd be willing to come along on something like that. I mean, Rand Paul, who can be a stick in the mud for the president, is going to absolutely want to defund the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. That's like a libertarian dream. So you don't have to worry about him. The Mike Lees and other folks who could sometimes be conscientious objectors to the Trump administration, same boat. And then there's Mitch McConnell, who probably does know what CIA assets are buried in the corporation itself and doesn't want them to get hurt and make sure that they're still being able to broadcast to Ukraine and all this. And he just wants to mess with the president, too, and doesn't want to change anything. Doesn't have to do with campaign finance or judges. So you probably can't count on him. But, hey, wouldn't it be funny if J.D. Vance just came down and cast the deciding vote? Hey, you guys have to rely on the Ford Foundation and the Tides Foundation and the Kochs and other people to pay your bills. And by the way, you will be fine.
Well, Bedford, one of our favorite Democrats, we have AOC, right? She's out there. She kind of just goes wherever the wind takes her. And she's out there wearing the tax the rich dress here, right? Of course, it's April 15th. Everybody's feeling very patriotic, turning in their taxes today. But actually, she has a new accent. Let's take a look.
Donald Trump is a criminal who was found guilty of 34 felony counts of fraud, liable for sexual abuse. Of course he's lying and abusing and manipulating the stock market too. When he talks about rapists and criminals, he should look in the mirror.
If you just close your eyes, you're like, is this Hillary Clinton? What's happening right now? What is she doing with this? Like, is she going to try and run for president here? Is she trying to follow in Hillary's footsteps, Chris?
Is that her impression of Obama? Is that Kamala Harris? Is that Hillary? All I know is that it's not AOC. I catch glimpses of a fake Hispanic accent that she's dropping in there. Usually she only reserves that for words like guacamole and different Spanish words as opposed to English words. But I guess it's, she wants to speak to the crowd that she's in. I mean, and that's also a big thing in Democrat circles. My favorite Hispanic member of the Democratic Party is Beto O'Rourke. But she just wants some power. She is ascendant. She's one of the few progressive voices that is still a draw. I think that her brand of progressivism is the kind of thing where the clarion call will echo all the way from Cambridge to Brooklyn, but and not really get that kind of traction in the rest of the country, not unlike people like Elizabeth Warren, who was supposed to be the big progressive champions back in the day. But she is generating that energy. And I would be surprised if her highest aspiration in life is a member of the U.S. Congress.
Chris, I spent a while thinking myself when I heard that, what accent, I was trying to figure out what accent it was, but what I realized at the end of it, I figured it out. It's not an accent that's ethnic at all. That, my friends, is theater kid. That is theater kid playing a theater kid. She sounds like a little girl going up on the stage, and I'm in my projecting voice now, and I have to put on an accent to, as you indicate, play a part for God knows what she's going to do next.
That's exactly right. I couldn't figure out. It wasn't her. It's not normal, and that is perfect.